Be yourself. Everyone else is already taken. Oscar Wilde. You've got to dance like there's nobody watching. Love like you'll never be hurt. Sing like there's nobody listening. And live like it's heaven on earth. William W. Perky. Be the change that you wish to see in the world. Mahatma Gandhi. No one can make you feel inferior without your consent. Eleanor Roosevelt. Live as if you were to die tomorrow. Learn as if you were to live forever. Mahatma Gandhi. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. Martin Luther King, Jr. Without music, life would be a mistake. Friedrich Nietzsche. We accept the love we think we deserve. Stephen Chbosky. Imperfection is beauty. Madness is genius. And it's better to be absolutely ridiculous than absolutely boring. Marilyn Monroe. There are only two ways to live your life. One is as though nothing is a miracle. The other is as though everything is a miracle. Albert Einstein. We are all in the gutter, but some of us are looking at the stars. Oscar Wilde. Fairy tales are more than true, not because they tell us that dragons exist, but because they tell us that dragons can be beaten. Neil Gaiman. Yesterday is history. Tomorrow is a mystery. Today is a gift of God, which is why we call it the present. Bill Keane. I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. Thomas A. Edison. The opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference. The opposite of art is not ugliness, it's indifference. The opposite of faith is not heresy, it's indifference. And the opposite of life is not death, it's indifference. Eli Wiesel. I am enough of an artist to draw freely upon my imagination. Imagination is more important than knowledge. Knowledge is limited. Imagination encircles the world. Albert Einstein. You have brains in your head. You have feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself any direction you choose. You're on your own. And you know what you know, and you are the one who'll decide where to go. Dr. Seuss. It is never too late to be what you might have been. George Eliot. There is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you. Maya Angelou. Everything you can imagine is real. Pablo Picasso. You can never get a cup of tea large enough or a book long enough to suit me. C.S. Lewis. To the well-organized mind, death is but the next great adventure. J.K. Rowling. Life isn't about finding yourself. Life is about creating yourself. George Bernard Shaw. Do what you can with what you have, where you are. Theodore Roosevelt. Listen to the mustn't's child. Listen to the don'ts. Listen to the shouldn'ts. The impossibles, the won'ts. Listen to the never haves. Then listen close to me. Anything can happen, child. Anything can be. Shel Silverstein. When one door of happiness closes, another opens. But often we look so long at the closed door that we do not see the one which has been opened for us. Helen Keller. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. Winston S. Churchill. So, this is my life. And I want you to know that I am both happy and sad, and I'm still trying to figure out how that could be. Stephen Chbosky. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one. John Lennon. And when you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it. Paulo Coelho. It's no use going back to yesterday, because I was a different person then. Lewis Carroll. What you're supposed to do when you don't like a thing is change it. If you can't change it, change the way you think about it. Don't complain. Maya Angelou. A person's a person no matter how small. Dr. Seuss. It's the possibility of having a dream come true that makes life interesting. Paulo Coelho. He's not perfect. You aren't either. And the two of you will never be perfect. But if he can make you laugh at least once, causes you to think twice, and if he admits to being human and making mistakes, hold on to him and give him the most you can. He isn't going to quote poetry. He's not thinking about you every moment, but he will give you a part of him that he knows you could break. Don't hurt him. Don't change him. And don't expect for more than he can give. Don't analyze. Smile when he makes you happy. Yell when he makes you mad. And miss him when he's not there. Love hard when there is love to be had. Because perfect guys don't exist. But there's always one guy that is perfect for you. Bob Marley. When we honestly ask ourselves which person in our lives mean the most to us, we often find that it is those who, instead of giving advice, solutions, or cures, have chosen rather to share our pain and touch our wounds with a warm and tender hand. The friend who can be silent with us in a moment of despair or confusion, who can stay with us in an hour of grief and bereavement, who can tolerate not knowing, not curing, not healing, and face with us the reality of our powerlessness, that is a friend who cares. Henry Nguyen. You can't live your life for other people. You've got to do what's right for you, even if it hurts some people you love. Nicholas Sparks. Well-behaved women seldom make history. Laurel Thatcher Ulrich. When I despair, I remember that all through history the way of truth and love have always won. There have been tyrants and murderers, and for a time they can seem invincible, but in the end they always fall. Think of it, always. Mahatma Gandhi. Nothing is impossible. The word itself says, I'm possible. Audrey Hepburn. So we beat on, boats against the current, borne back ceaselessly into the past. F. Scott Fitzgerald. I can't give you a surefire formula for success, but I can give you a formula for failure. Try to please everybody all the time. Herbert Bayard Swope. The only people for me are the mad ones, the ones who are mad to live, mad to talk, mad to be saved, desirous of everything at the same time, the ones who never yawn or say a commonplace thing, but burn, burn, burn like fabulous yellow Roman candles exploding like spiders across the stars, and in the middle, you see the blue center light pop, and everybody goes, "Aw." Jack Kerouac. Do what you feel in your heart to be right, for you'll be criticized anyway. Eleanor Roosevelt. Happiness is not something ready-made. It comes from your own actions. Dalai Lama the 14th. Peace begins with a smile. Mother Teresa. Do not read as children do to amuse yourself or like the ambitious for the purpose of instruction. No, read in order to live. Gustav Flaubert. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. Margaret Mead. Imagining the future is a kind of nostalgia. You spend your whole life stuck in the labyrinth, thinking about how you'll escape it one day and how awesome it will be. And imagining that future keeps you going, but you never do it. You just use the future to escape the present. John Green. What lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us. Ralph Waldo Emerson. For attractive lips, speak words of kindness. For lovely eyes, seek out the good in people. For a slim figure, share your food with the hungry. For beautiful hair, let a child run his fingers through it once a day. For poise, walk with the knowledge you'll never walk alone. We leave you a tradition with a future. The tender loving care of human beings will never become obsolete. People, even more than things, have to be restored, renewed, revived, reclaimed, and redeemed, and redeemed and redeemed. Never throw out anybody. Remember, if you ever need a helping hand, you'll find one at the end of your arm. As you grow older, you will discover that you have two hands, one for helping yourself, the other for helping others. Your good old days are still ahead of you. May you have many of them. Sam Levinson. Promise yourself to be so strong that nothing can disturb your peace of mind. To talk health, happiness, and prosperity to every person you meet. To make all your friends feel that there is something in them. To look at the sunny side of everything and make your optimism come true. To think only the best, to work only for the best, and to expect only the best. To be just as enthusiastic about the success of others as you are about your own. To forget the mistakes of the past and press on to the greater achievements of the future. To wear a cheerful countenance at all times and give every living creature you meet a smile. To give so much time to the improvement of yourself that you have no time to criticize others. To be too large for worry, too noble for anger, too strong for fear, and too happy to permit the presence of trouble. To think well of yourself and to proclaim this fact to the world, not in loud words, but great deeds. To live in faith that the whole world is on your side, so long as you are true to the best that is in you. Christian D. Larson. Friendship is unnecessary. Like philosophy, like art, it has no survival value. Rather, it is one of those things which give value to survival. C.S. Lewis. Whatever you are, be a good one. Abraham Lincoln. I hope she'll be a fool. That's the best thing a girl can be in this world, a beautiful little fool. F. Scott Fitzgerald. Two wrongs don't make a right, but they make a good excuse. Thomas Szasz. First they ignore you, then they ridicule you, and then they attack you and want to burn you, and then they build monuments to you. Nicholas Klein. May you live every day of your life. Jonathan Swift. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the door of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. Theodore Roosevelt. If you remember me, then I don't care if everyone else forgets. Haruki Murakami. Prayer is not asking. It is a longing of the soul. It is daily admission of one's weakness. It is better in prayer to have a heart without words than words without a heart. Mahatma Gandhi. War is peace. Freedom is slavery. Ignorance is strength. George Orwell. What I need is the dandelion in the spring, the bright yellow that means rebirth instead of destruction, the promise that life can go on, no matter how bad our losses, that it can be good again. Suzanne Collins. And in the end, the love you take is equal to the love you make. Paul McCartney. It isn't what you have or who you are or where you are or what you are doing that makes you happy or unhappy. It is what you think about it. Dale Carnegie. The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. Eleanor Roosevelt. I like living. I have sometimes been wildly, despairingly, acutely miserable, racked with sorrow. But through it all, I still know quite certainly that just to be alive is a grand thing. Agatha Christie. I am not sure exactly what heaven will be like, but I know that when we die and it comes time for God to judge us, He will not ask, "How many good things have you done in your life?" Rather, He will ask, "How much love did you put into what you did?" Mother Teresa. I don't trust people who don't love themselves and tell me, "I love you." There is an African saying which is, "Be careful when a naked person offers you a shirt." Maya Angelou. We're all seeking that special person who is right for us. But if you've been through enough relationships, you begin to suspect there's no right person, just different flavors of wrong. Why is this? Because you yourself are wrong in some way, and you seek out partners who are wrong in some complementary way. But it takes a lot of living to grow fully into your own wrongness, and it isn't until you finally run up against your deepest demons, your unsolvable problems, the ones that make you truly who you are, that we are ready to find a lifelong mate. Only then do you finally know what you're looking for. You're looking for the wrong person, but not just any wrong person. It's got to be the right wrong person. Someone you lovingly gaze upon and think, "This is the problem I want to have. I will find that special person who is wrong for me in just the right way." Andrew Boyd. Don't judge each day by the harvest you reap, but by the seeds that you plant. Robert Louis Stevenson. But I know, somehow, that only when it is dark enough can you see the stars. Martin Luther King Jr. None but ourselves can free our minds. Bob Marley. I do not fear death. I had been dead for billions and billions of years before I was born, and had not suffered the slightest inconvenience from it. Mark Twain. Sometimes our light goes out, but is blown again into instant flame by an encounter with another human being. Albert Schweitzer. Simplicity, patience, compassion. These three are your greatest treasures. Simple in actions and thoughts, you return to the source of being. Patient with both friends and enemies, you accord with the way things are. Compassionate toward yourself, you reconcile all beings in the world. Lao Tzu. Clouds come floating into my life, no longer to carry rain or usher storm, but to add color to my sunset sky. Rabindranath Tagore. The truth is, unless you let go, unless you forgive yourself, unless you forgive the situation, unless you realize that the situation is over, you cannot move forward. Steve Maraboli. A woman's heart should be so hidden in God that a man has to seek him just to find her. Max Lucado. It's kind of fun to do the impossible. Walt Disney. People say nothing is impossible, but I do nothing every day. A. Milne. A painter should begin every canvas with a wash of black, because all things in nature are dark, except where exposed by the light. Leonardo da Vinci. When I was a little girl, I used to read fairy tales. In fairy tales, you meet Prince Charming, and he's everything you ever wanted. In fairy tales, the bad guy is very easy to spot. The bad guy is always wearing a black cape, so you always know who he is. Then you grow up, and you realize that Prince Charming is not as easy to find as you thought. You realize the bad guy is not wearing a black cape, and he's not easy to spot. He's really funny, and he makes you laugh, and he has perfect hair. Taylor Swift. Pain is temporary. Quitting lasts forever. Lance Armstrong. The things you do for yourself are gone when you are gone, but the things you do for others remain as your legacy. Kalu Duque Kalu. Dare to be. When a new day begins, dare to smile gratefully. When there is darkness, dare to be the first to shine a light. When there is injustice, dare to be the first to condemn it. When something seems difficult, dare to do it anyway. When life seems to beat you down, dare to fight back. When there seems to be no hope, dare to find some. When you're feeling tired, dare to keep going. When times are tough, dare to be tougher. When love hurts you, dare to love again. When someone is hurting, dare to help them heal. When another is lost, dare to help them find the way. When a friend falls, dare to be the first to extend a hand. When you cross paths with another, dare to make them smile. When you feel great, dare to help someone else feel great too. When the day has ended, dare to feel as you've done your best. Dare to be the best you can at all times. Dare to be. Steve Maraboli. The most important kind of freedom is to be what you really are. You trade in your reality for a role. You trade in your sense for an act. You give up your ability to feel and, in exchange, put on a mask. There can't be any large-scale revolution until there's a personal revolution on an individual level. It's got to happen inside first. Jim Morrison. I was smiling yesterday, I am smiling today, and I will smile tomorrow, simply because life is too short to cry for anything. Santosh Kalwar. If you are irritated by every rub, how will your mirror be polished? Rumi. Understanding is the first step to acceptance, and only with acceptance can there be recovery. J.K. Rowling. It doesn't interest me what you do for a living. I want to know what you ache for, and if you dare to dream of meeting your heart's longing. It doesn't interest me how old you are. I want to know if you will risk looking like a fool for love, for your dream, for the adventure of being alive. It doesn't interest me what planets are squaring your moon. I want to know if you have touched the center of your own sorrow, if you have been opened by life's betrayals or have become shriveled and closed from fear of further pain. I want to know if you can sit with pain, mine or your own, without moving to hide it or fade it or fix it. I want to know if you can be with joy, mine or your own, if you can dance with wildness, and let the ecstasy fill you to the tips of your fingers and toes without cautioning us to be careful, to be realistic, to remember the limitations of being human. It doesn't interest me if the story you are telling me is true. I want to know if you can disappoint another to be true to yourself, if you can bear the accusation of betrayal and not betray your own soul, if you can be faithless and therefore trustworthy. I want to know if you can see beauty, even when it's not pretty, every day, and if you can source your own life from its presence. I want to know if you can live with failure, yours and mine, and still stand on the edge of the lake and shout to the silver of the moon, yes. It doesn't interest me to know where you live or how much money you have. I want to know if you can get up after the night of grief and despair, weary and bruised to the bone, and do what needs to be done to feed the children. It doesn't interest me who you know or how you came to be here. I want to know if you will stand in the center of the fire with me and not shrink back. It doesn't interest me where or what or with whom you have studied. I want to know what sustains you from the inside when all else falls away. I want to know if you can be alone with yourself, and if you truly like the company you keep in the empty moments. Oriah Mountain Dreamer. Though nobody can go back and make a new beginning, anyone can start over and make a new ending. Chico Javier. You were born with wings. Why prefer to crawl through life? Rumi. We are just an advanced breed of monkeys on a minor planet of a very average star, but we can understand the universe. That makes us something very special. Stephen Hawking. It is the time you have wasted for your rose that makes your rose so important. Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. Don't be pushed around by the fears in your mind. Be led by the dreams in your heart. Roy T. Bennett. Happiness is only real when shared. John Krakauer. Life is a shipwreck, but we must not forget to sing in the lifeboats. Voltaire. It was, he thought, the difference between being dragged into the arena to face a battle to the death and walking into the arena with your head held high. Some people, perhaps, would say that there was little to choose between the two ways. But Dumbledore knew, and so do I, thought Harry, with a rush of fierce pride, and so did my parents, that there was all the difference in the world. J.K. Rowling. Better to be strong than pretty and useless. Lilith St. Crow. A ship is safe in harbor, but that's not what ships are for. John A. Shedd. The unreal is more powerful than the real, because nothing is as perfect as you can imagine it, because it's only intangible ideas, concepts, beliefs, fantasies that last. Stone crumbles, wood rots, people, well, they die, but things as fragile as a thought, a dream, a legend, they can go on and on. If you can change the way people think, the way they see themselves, the way they see the world, you can change the way people live their lives. That's the only lasting thing you can create. Chuck Palahniuk. If you want to be happy, do not dwell in the past. Do not worry about the future. Focus on living fully in the present. Roy T. Bennett. Letting go means to come to the realization that some people are a part of your history, but not a part of your destiny. Steve Maraboli. The most common way people give up their power is by thinking they don't have any. Alice Walker. Instead of worrying about what you cannot control, shift your energy to what you can create. Roy T. Bennett. Even if you are on the right track, you'll get run over if you just sit there. Will Rogers. Maybe everyone can live beyond what they're capable of. Marcus Zuzak. It's only after you've stepped outside your comfort zone that you begin to change, grow, and transform. Roy T. Bennett. The past has no power over the present moment. Eckhart Tolle. May the forces of evil become confused on the way to your house. George Carlin. You should never be surprised when someone treats you with respect. You should expect it. Sarah Dessen. The worst part of success is trying to find someone who is happy for you. Bette Midler. The most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or touched. They are felt with the heart. Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. I have come to accept the feeling of not knowing where I am going, and I have trained myself to love it, because it is only when we are suspended in midair with no landing in sight that we force our wings to unravel and, alas, begin our flight. And as we fly, we still may not know where we are going to, but the miracle is in the unfolding of the wings. You may not know where you're going, but you know that so long as you spread your wings, the winds will carry you. C. Joy Bell C. When people don't express themselves, they die one piece at a time. Laurie Halse Anderson. There are some things you can't share without ending up like each other, and knocking out a 12-foot mountain troll is one of them. J.K. Rowling. She seems so cool, so focused, so quiet, yet her eyes remain fixed upon the horizon. You think you know all there is to know about her immediately upon meeting her, but everything you think you know is wrong. Passion flows through her like a river of blood. She only looked away for a moment, and the mask slipped and you fell. All your tomorrows start here. Neil Gaiman. Be the reason someone smiles. Be the reason someone feels loved and believes in the goodness in people. Roy T. Bennett. Accept yourself, love yourself, and keep moving forward. If you want to fly, you have to give up what weighs you down. Roy T. Bennett. When one tugs at a single thing in nature, he finds it attached to the rest of the world. John Muir. Do what is right, not what is easy nor what is popular. Roy T. Bennett. It's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog. Mark Twain. Every book, every volume you see here has a soul. The soul of the person who wrote it, and of those who read it and lived and dreamed with it. Every time a book changes hands, every time someone runs his eyes down its pages, its spirit grows and strengthens. Carlos Ruiz Zafón. Live the life of your dreams. Be brave enough to live the life of your dreams according to your vision and purpose, instead of the expectations and opinions of others. Roy T. Bennett. In the end, these things matter most. How well did you love? How fully did you live? How deeply did you let go? Jack Cornfield. Believe in your heart. Believe in your heart that you're meant to live a life full of passion, purpose, magic, and miracles. Roy T. Bennett. A woman's heart should be so hidden in God that a man has to seek him just to find her. Maya Angelou. I will love you always. When this red hair is white, I will still love you. When the smooth softness of youth is replaced by the delicate softness of age, I will still want to touch your skin. When your face is full of lines of every smile you have ever smiled, of every surprise I have seen flash through your eyes, when every tear you have ever cried has left its mark upon your face, I will treasure you all the more, because I was there to see it all. I will share your life with you, Meredith, and I will love you until the last breath leaves your body or mine. Laurel K. Hamilton. The brick walls are there for a reason. The brick walls are not there to keep us out. The brick walls are there to give us a chance to show how badly we want something. Because the brick walls are there to stop the people who don't want it badly enough. They're there to stop the other people. Randy Pausch. I kept always 2 books in my pocket, one to read, one to write in. Robert Louis Stevenson. Please believe that things are good with me, and even when they're not, they will be soon enough, and I will always believe the same about you. Stephen Chbosky. Even strength must bow to wisdom sometimes. Rick Riordan. Never be bullied into silence. Never allow yourself to be made a victim. Accept no one's definition of your life, but define yourself. Harvey Fierstein. The past is a place of reference, not a place of residence. The past is a place of learning, not a place of living. Roy T. Bennett. Great heroes need great sorrows and burdens, or half their greatness goes unnoticed. It is all part of the fairy tale. Peter S. Beagle. Follow your heart. Listen to your inner voice. Stop caring about what others think. Roy T. Bennett. I don't think of all the misery, but of the beauty that still remains. Anne Frank. Life is too short to waste any amount of time on wondering what other people think about you. In the first place, if they had better things going on in their lives, they wouldn't have the time to sit around and talk about you. What's important to me is not others' opinions of me, but what's important to me is my opinion of myself. C. Joy Bell C. Don't let the bastards grind you down. Margaret Atwood. I'd rather be hated for who I am than loved for who I am not. Kurt Cobain. Be grateful for what you already have while you pursue your goals. If you aren't grateful for what you already have, What makes you think you would be happy with more? Roy T. Bennett. Trees that are slow to grow bear the best fruit. Moliere. Once you have read a book you care about, some part of it is always with you. Louis L'Amour. I wonder how many people don't get the one they want, but end up with the one they're supposed to be with. Fanny Flagg. Acts of kindness. A random act of kindness, no matter how small, can make a tremendous impact on someone else's life. Roy T. Bennett. So many people walk around with a meaningless life. They seem half asleep even when they're busy doing things they think are important. This is because they're chasing the wrong things. The way you get meaning into your life is to devote yourself to loving others, devote yourself to your community around you, and devote yourself to creating something that gives you purpose and meaning. Mitch Albom. Atticus. He was real nice. Most people are. Scout. When you finally see them. Harper Lee. Wanting to be someone else is a waste of the person you are. Marilyn Monroe. Shoot for the moon. Even if you miss, you'll land among the stars. Norman Vincent Peale. Pursue what catches your heart, not what catches your eyes. Roy T. Bennett. Life is about accepting the challenges along the way, choosing to keep moving forward, and savoring the journey. Roy T. Bennett. Don't waste your time in anger, regrets, worries, and grudges. Life is too short to be unhappy. Roy T. Bennett. Success is not how high you have climbed, but how you make a positive difference to the world. Roy T. Bennett. Jane, be still. Don't struggle so like a wild, frantic bird that is rending its own plumage in its desperation. I am no bird, and no net ensnares me. I am a free human being with an independent will, which I now exert to leave you. Charlotte Bronte. The unhappiest people in this world are those who care the most about what other people think. C. Joy Bell C. There is a place in the heart that will never be filled, a space. And even during the best moments and the greatest times we will know it more than ever. There is a place in the heart that will never be filled, and we will wait and wait in that space. Charles Bukowski. No amount of regretting can change the past, and no amount of worrying can change the future. Roy T. Bennett. Whatever you can do or dream you can, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. John Anster. Be steady and well-ordered in your life so that you can be fierce and original in your work. Gustav Flaubert. Learn to light a candle in the darkest moments of someone's life. Be the light that helps others see. It is what gives life its deepest significance. Roy T. Bennett. The starting point of all achievement is desire. Keep this constantly in mind. Weak desire brings weak results, just as a small fire makes a small amount of heat. Napoleon Hill. If you want to be happy, be. Tolstoy Leo. If you don't go after what you want, you'll never have it. If you don't ask, the answer is always no. If you don't step forward, you're always in the same place. Nora Roberts. Keep going. Your hardest times often lead to the greatest moments of your life. keep going. Tough situations build strong people in the end. Roy T. Bennett. It is easy in the world to live after the world's opinion. It is easy in solitude to live after our own. But the great man is he who, in the midst of the crowd, keeps with perfect sweetness the independence of solitude. Ralph Waldo Emerson. I am a part of all that I have met. Alfred Tennyson. Whatever you do, you need courage. Whatever course you decide upon, there is always someone to tell you that you are wrong. There are always difficulties arising that tempt you to believe your critics are right. To map out a course of action and follow it to an end requires some of the same courage that a soldier needs. Peace has its victories, but it takes brave men and women to win them. Ralph Waldo Emerson. I just want you to know that you're very special. And the only reason I'm telling you is that I don't know if anyone else ever has. Stephen Chbosky. Believe in yourself. You are braver than you think, more talented than you know, and capable of more than you imagine. Roy T. Bennett. If we have no peace, it is because we have forgotten that we belong to each other. Mother Teresa. A concept is a brick. It can be used to build a courthouse of reason, or it can be thrown through the window. Gilles Deleuze. I have never met a man so ignorant that I couldn't learn something from him. Galileo Galilei. There is nothing more dreadful than the habit of doubt. Doubt separates people. It is a poison that disintegrates friendships and breaks up pleasant relations. It is a thorn that irritates and hurts. It is a sword that kills. Buddha Siddhartha Gautama Shakyamuni. Happiness is not the absence of problems. It is the ability to deal with them. Steve Maraboli. When it comes down to it, that's what life is all about. Showing up for the people you love, again and again, until you can't show up anymore. Rebecca Walker. Life has no remote. Get up and change it yourself. Mark A. Cooper. I've known people that the world has thrown everything at to discourage them, to break their spirit, and yet something about them retains a dignity. They face life and don't ask quarters. Horton Foote. I believe that imagination is stronger than knowledge, that myth is more potent than history, that dreams are more powerful than facts, that hope always triumphs over experience, that laughter is the only cure for grief, and I believe that love is stronger than death. Robert Fulghum. You can't stay in your corner of the forest waiting for others to come to you. You have to go to them sometimes. A. A. Milne. Who controls the past controls the future. Who controls the present controls the past. George Orwell. Isn't it nice to think that tomorrow is a new day with no mistakes in it yet? L. M. Montgomery. If my life is going to mean anything, I have to live it myself. Rick Riordan. You can talk with someone for years, every day, and still it won't mean as much as what you can have when you sit in front of someone, not saying a word, yet you feel that person with your heart. You feel like you have known the person for forever. Connections are made with the heart, not the tongue. See Joy Bell C. Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. Emily Dickinson. When I was 5 years old, my mother always told me that happiness was the key to life. When I went to school, they asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up. I wrote down happy. They told me I didn't understand the assignment, and I told them they didn't understand life. John Lennon. Always do what you are afraid to do. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. Martin Luther King Jr. There is neither happiness nor misery in the world. There is only the comparison of one state with another, nothing more. He who has felt the deepest grief is best able to experience supreme happiness. We must have felt what it is to die, Morel, that we may appreciate the enjoyments of life. Live, then, and be happy, beloved children of my heart, and never forget that until the day God will deign to reveal the future to man, all human wisdom is contained in these two words: wait and hope. Alexandre Dumas. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. Haruki Murakami. And once the storm is over, you won't remember how you made it through, how you managed to survive. You won't even be sure whether the storm is really over. But one thing is certain. When you come out of the storm, you won't be the same person who walked in. That's what this storm is all about. Haruki Murakami. If you're reading this, congratulations, you're alive. If that's not something to smile about, then I don't know what is. Chad Sugg. In the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. Martin Luther King Jr. Do not let your fire go out, sparked by irreplaceable spark in the hopeless swamps of the not quite, the not yet, and the not at all. Do not let the hero in your soul perish in lonely frustration for the life you deserved and have never been able to reach. The world you desire can be won. It exists. It is real. It is possible. It's yours. Ayn Rand. It is so hard to leave until you leave, and then it is the easiest goddamn thing in the world. John Green. Talent hits a target no one else can hit. Genius hits a target no one else can see. Arthur Schopenhauer. The mind is its own place, and in itself can make a heaven of hell, a hell of heaven. John Milton. Waiting is painful. Forgetting is painful. But not knowing which to do is the worst kind of suffering. Paulo Coelho. Fantasy is hardly an escape from reality. It's a way of understanding it. Lloyd Alexander. Do not go where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail. Ralph Waldo Emerson. I can be changed by what happens to me, but I refuse to be reduced by it. Popular misquote of, you may not control all the events that happen to you, but you can decide not to be reduced by them. Maya Angelou. The world is indeed full of peril, and in it there are many dark places, but still there is much that is fair. And though in all lands love is now mingled with grief, it grows perhaps the greater. J.R.R. Tolkien. If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. Martin Luther King Jr. Never let your sense of morals prevent you from doing what is right. Isaac Asimov. Hell is empty, and all the devils are here. William Shakespeare. I love to see a young girl go out and grab the world by the lapels. Life's a bitch. You've got to go out and kick ass. Maya Angelou. When you have eliminated all which is impossible, then whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth. Arthur Conan Doyle. Turn your wounds into wisdom. Oprah Winfrey. Don't be afraid of your fears. They're not there to scare you. They're there to let you know that something is worth it. C. Joy Bell C. All the darkness in the world cannot extinguish the light of a single candle. St. Francis of Assisi. You never fail until you stop trying. Albert Einstein. Stories never really end. Even if the books like to pretend they do, stories always go on. They don't end on the last page, any more than they begin on the first page. Cornelia Funk. The Chinese use 2 brushstrokes to write the word crisis. One brushstroke stands for danger, the other for opportunity. In a crisis, beware of the danger, but recognize the opportunity. John F. Kennedy. If you want to forget something or someone, never hate it, or never hate him or her. Everything and everyone that you hate is engraved upon your heart. If you want to let go of something, if you want to forget, you cannot hate. C. Joy Bell C. Start writing no matter what. The water does not flow until the faucet is turned on. Louis L'Amour. Hope smiles from the threshold of the year to come, whispering it will be happier. Alfred Lloyd Tennyson. Attitude is a choice. Happiness is a choice. Optimism is a choice. Kindness is a choice. Giving is a choice. Respect is a choice. Whatever choice you make makes you. Choose wisely. Roy T. Bennett. Why didn't I learn to treat everything like it was the last time? My greatest regret was how much I believed in the future. Jonathan Safran Foer. You're off to great places. Today is your day. Your mountain is waiting. So get on your way. Dr. Seuss. Don't say you don't have enough time. You have exactly the same number of hours per day that were given to Helen Keller, Pasteur, Michelangelo, Mother Teresa, Leonardo da Vinci, Thomas Jefferson, and Albert Einstein. H. Jackson Brown Jr. To see a world in a grain of sand and a heaven in a wildflower, hold infinity in the palm of your hand and eternity in an hour. William Blake. The secret of health for both mind and body is not to mourn for the past, nor to worry about the future, but to live the present moment wisely and earnestly. Ukyo Dendo Kyokai. Well now, if little by little you stop loving me, I shall stop loving you. Little by little, if suddenly you forget me, do not look for me, for I shall already have forgotten you. If you think it long and mad the wind of banners that passes through my life, and you decide to leave me at the shore of the heart where I have roots, remember that on that day, at that hour, I shall lift my arms, and my roots will set off to seek another land. Pablo Neruda. We have to follow ourselves to be loved by the people who really love us, the people who really matter. Too much of the time, we are blinded by our own pursuits of people to love us, people that don't even matter, while all the time we waste and the people who do love us have to stand on the sidewalk and watch us beg in the streets. It's time to put an end to this. It's time for us to let ourselves be loved. C. Joy Bell C. Once you have tasted flight, you will forever walk the earth with your eyes turned skyward. For there you have been, and there you will always long to return. Leonardo da Vinci. One love, one heart, one destiny. Robert Marley. The thing about growing up with Fred and George, said Ginny thoughtfully, is that you sort of start thinking anything's possible if you've got enough nerve. J.K. Rowling. It's not the face, but the expressions on it. It's not the voice, but what you say. It's not how you look in that body, but the thing you do with it. You are beautiful. Stephanie Meyer. Is fat really the worst thing a human being can be? Is fat worse than vindictive, jealous, shallow, vain, boring, or cruel? Not to me. J.K. Rowling. So be sure when you step with care and great tact, and remember that life's a great balancing act. And will you succeed? Yes, you will indeed. 98.75% guaranteed. Kid, you'll move mountains. Dr. Seuss. If she's amazing, she won't be easy. If she's easy, she won't be amazing. If she's worth it, you won't give up. If you give up, you're not worthy. Truth is, everybody is going to hurt you. You just gotta find the ones worth suffering for. Bob Marley. Dance. When you're broken open, dance if you've torn the bandage off. Dance in the middle of the fighting. Dance in your blood. Dance when you're perfectly free. Rumi. You is kind. You is smart. You is important. Catherine Stockett. Any fool can be happy. It takes a man with real heart to make beauty out of the stuff that makes us weep. Clive Barker. To me, fearless is not the absence of fear. It's not being completely unafraid. To me, fearless is having fears. Fearless is having doubts, lots of them. To me, fearless is living in spite of those things that scare you to death. Taylor Swift. You see things, you say, why? But I dream things that never were, and I say, why not? George Bernard Shaw. Live in the present, remember the past, and fear not the future, for it doesn't exist and never shall. There is only now. Christopher Paolini. What makes the desert beautiful, said the little prince, is that somewhere it hides a well? Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. The only way that we can live is if we grow. The only way that we can grow is if we change. The only way that we can change is if we learn. The only way we can learn is if we are exposed. And the only way we can become exposed is if we throw ourselves into the open. Do it. Throw yourself. C. Joy Bell C. There was another life that I might have had, but I am having this one. Kazuo Ishiguro. No matter what he does, every person on Earth plays a central role in the history of the world, and normally he doesn't know it. Paulo Coelho. What's the good of living if you don't try a few things? Charles M. Schulz. Nothing in the world is ever completely wrong. Even a stop clock is right twice a day. Paulo Coelho. Take responsibility of your own happiness. Never put it in other people's hands. Roy T. Bennett. Try a little harder to be a little better. Gordon P. Hinckley. Life is too short to waste your time on people who don't respect, appreciate, and value you. Roy T. Bennett. Reputation is what other people know about you. Honor is what you know about yourself. Lois McMaster Bujold. The important thing to you is not how many years in your life, but how much life in your years. Edward J. Stiglitz. If people refuse to look at you in a new light, and they can only see you for what you were, only see you for the mistakes you've made, if they don't realize that you are not your mistakes, then they have to go. Steve Maraboli. Lack of direction, not lack of time, is the problem. We all have 24-hour days. Zig Ziglar. If you think you are too small to make a difference, try sleeping with a mosquito. The Dalai Lama. The purpose of life is to live it, to taste experience to the utmost, to reach out eagerly and without fear for newer and richer experience. Eleanor Roosevelt. Remember, darkness does not always equate to evil, just as light does not always bring good. P.C. Cast. Betrayed. I meant what I said, and I said what I meant. An elephant's faithful 100%. Dr. Seuss. When I was about 8, I decided that the most wonderful thing next to a human being was a book. Margaret Walker. Change will not come if we wait for some other person, or if we wait for some other time. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the change that we seek. Barack Obama. Kindness is a language which the deaf can hear and the blind can see. Mark Twain. Be mindful, be grateful, be positive, be true, be kind. Roy T. Bennett. Go on with what your heart tells you, or you will lose all. Rick Riordan. It does not matter how slowly you go, as long as you do not stop. Confucius. All parents damage their children. It cannot be helped. Youth, like pristine glass, absorbs the prints of its handlers. Some parents smudge, others crack. A few shatter childhoods completely into jagged little pieces beyond repair. Mitch Albom. There must be those among whom we can sit down and weep and still be counted as warriors. Adrian Rich. What do we live for, if it is not to make life less difficult for each other? George Eliot. Anyone can hide. Facing up to things, working through them, that's what makes you strong. Sarah Dessen. Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. Viktor E. Frankl. My concern is not whether God is on our side. My greatest concern is to be on God's side, for God is always right. Abraham Lincoln. Tears are words that need to be written. Paulo Coelho. I must be a mermaid, Rango. I have no fear of depths and a great fear of shallow living. Aeneas Nin. Parents can only give good advice or put them on the right paths, but the final forming of a person's character lies in their own hands.